welcome back to the Unscripted Banter Podcast. We are episode 19 now. All three of us back together.
Yeah, the Bamford returns.
Yes, I had to come back. Have you seen the numbers in the last episode? It was a disaster. So, what about, speaking of which, what about your egg situation? Did you take the thing back?
Oh, no, I took the, funny, I've just used it there tonight. I took the cardboard thing off it, the cardboard holder. It sits up all right. It certainly wouldn't be 100% safe, but it sits up while you can get an egg done. It was the pistol fella put me off taking it back, because I thought if I go back with this thing and they say, take off the cardboard thing and it sits up, so I didn't want to be a mug for a fiver.
I didn't want to look stupid. But see, particularly lately, so I've reread Anthony Bourdain's book. I've just finished Marco Pierre White's autobiography, and now I'm getting into cooking, right? And I will regularly, our group chat, I was a steak, onion rings, carrot and parsnip, and some champ.
Wow.
I thought you'd went out for that dinner. I didn't realise you cooked that.
No, and a wee bit of red wine, and I actually cooked off a second steak, which I'll have later today.
Can you eat steak the next day?
Wrap it in tinfoil, put it in the fridge. It does another 3 days. I don't know if it's just subconsciously, listening to all these tales from the kitchen that I'm just being motivated. But I suppose you have to eat, don't you?
Are you enjoying it?
I do enjoy it. Like, I stick on some music or a podcast, and I enjoy cooking. I find it quite... See, I'm quite a creative person.
Oh, there's no doubt. Creativity hangs right out of you.
I can't. It's the timings. This has to be ready in 10 minutes, so that has to be ready at that temperature, so you have time that to be ready at that time. It's too mathematical.
I enjoy it.
We don't want to hear from you because you just walk in and it's all sitting on the table.
I don't walk. Where have you got this idea from? I do
need
not
to hear from you trying to cook. You walk in. What do you want for your tea, Pascal?
Well, here, no. I want to get to the. Well, let's get to the point here, right? I want to get every detail of the holiday.
No, you don't.
I want to get every single detail from start to finish.
Do I look brown? No, I suppose a bit.
You look a wee bit. You do look a wee bit. There's a wee colour around your nose.
You look a bit like you're carrying less stress, less of a burden.
Do you think so?
Yeah, you look a bit more relieved.
This chaos from start to finish.
Was it bad?
Okay.
Well, what was chaotic about it? So you turn up at the airport, but you went out. What time was your flight?
7
a.m.
Yes, so you're up there from 5 o'clock, right?
Yes, but hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I will. I woke up that morning and you were at like 6 a.m. down in a pint.
I was. I needed it to calm my nerves. You arrive up, you park your car, you get your ticket. Everybody knows this who've all been to this place, and you jump on the bus and away you go across into the building, and then you stand in your queue. Now, it wasn't as long for me because I didn't have any liquids. I threw them all in the thing, so it was only me standing. I didn't have a bag or anything else. So I was off with the belt, off with the shoes, the usual malarkey, through you go. And then you go from that into the facilities.
Does the excitement not help you through that? Are you not excited to get away?
Not when you're standing for 45 minutes trying to get a bag checked in, no.
Imagine young kids with you. And
oh,
stuff,
gosh.
You know?
But yeah, you see, it was a family-friendly flight, so there was loads of them. And this is the other thing. And Pistol,
what flights aren't family-friendly? What do you mean family-friendly?
Wait, Pistol, would you, seriously...
Adult-only flight? I've never heard of it.
Take your daughter, right, on a flight at 7 o'clock in the morning and haul her for a 3.5-hour flight. Would you seriously do that?
Well, we went to our Disney flight last year was the first one out, yeah.
Florida?
No, just to Paris.
Right. Was there any squealing and yelling?
Well, typically that flight, because you're going to Paris and it's that time of year, typically it was a Disney kind of crowd.
Right. So how does that affect, do you think, passengers who can't be bothered with that noise at 6 in the morning?
But I think you just expect that if you're going away at holiday season.
Yeah, but I just don't understand why you would have a 6-month-old or a year-old or a 2-month-old or whatever baby on a plane at that time of the morning. You know,
were you like the one in front?
Yes.
Right.
I was. It happens to me all the friggin' time. I'm the one in front, and then on the way back, I'm the one in front of the 5-year-old constantly kicking the seat. And you're going, Oh. There's a lot to be said about being a millionaire and having your own plane.
Do you remember? Who says that? Do you remember, by terms of you'd negotiated some sort of compensation before you left?
Yes, the breakfast.
Free breakfast.
Yeah. The breakfast was all right. Yeah, breakfast was okay, and I seem to be the only one having a hot breakfast. Everybody else,
After your pint.
didn't seem to have anything. But look, once you get there, and then once you get off and you get through all that stress, and then I did send you the chaos in Faro Airport. Those poor people were the UK passport holders and the non-EU passport holders who were there for 4 days trying to get through the security, whereas us European passport holders are able just to march ourselves round through the European gate and away you go. And the same carry on coming back.
One question, was it hard to find your bus when you got to the airport?
Oh, God, aye. Oh.
That's one thing I worry about.
Third one on the left. Go across. It's the third bus on the left. L1 or L2. But for frig's sake, you come out of that. I don't know if you've ever been to Faro Airport, but you come out of Faro Airport, and again, it's huge, and you're walking about, no signs, no nothing. Okay, there were a couple of if you remember, in the old days, they were called, and I remember my late father used to call them couriers, right? The holiday rep.
Uh-huh.
Okay, right.
He used to call them couriers because he would have went up to them and said, "Here, curry these bags out to the bus."
Right.
So you found the courier. It's L2 there, down there, 5 feet down. Go turn left, turn right, turn. So anyway, but the problem was then.
Was he from Belfast?
I think he was. Yeah. Anyway, I gets myself down to the bus. 4 sitting on the bus, right?
Uh-huh.
I gets onto the bus. Then I'm number 5, and we sat there, and we sat there, and we sat there, and we sat there in the stifling heat. And we sat there with the door of the bus open because all the non-EU passport holders, guess where they were?
Oh, yeah, still trying to get through.
Oh, my, I didn't think of that.
They were still standing in the queue trying to get through the security. Now, and I read from next year, you have to now have a visa to go to Europe if you're a non-EU passport holder.
When the bus started to move, how long was the journey then to the hotel?
40 minutes. Because my hotel was stuck out in the sticks, adult only.
Remember that when it pulls up at a hotel and it's a real shithole and everybody's like, "I hope this is not mine."
As you well know, I was crapping myself because I read the bloody review, rats, and we were lying at the pool and there was rats running around and there was flies all over the food. I didn't witness any of that. And it's very difficult. It's also very detrimental at what review you'd put on about somewhere because it can make people go, "Holy shit, I'm not going there." But I didn't witness any of that. The food was okay. The place was clean. There wasn't a lot of atmosphere about it, but it was clean, comfortable bed. Room was clean, dated. The usual what you would expect from these holiday hotels. Bathroom dated, but clean. And breakfast was all right. The usual fruit, bit of ham, bit of cheese, bread. The only downside was if you wanted a hot breakfast, you only got one sausage. But you remember years ago when you used to go to Spain and these places and Benidorm and all this, and the hotels were really just crap. And that's what you expected. And you expected the single hard bed and the one sheet. And look, this place was all right. It had no atmosphere. But, it had no atmosphere. There was no music around the bar area or music around the pool bar area, but it had a nice pool bar area. You could sit in the water beside the bar. That was all nice, but no atmosphere. But obviously it was a needs must for adult people who maybe didn't want that music noise, who didn't want children running about, who wanted to sit by the bar, sit by the pool and just sit and sip a cocktail. Yeah, grand. But I did send you the thing about I went down into town and bumped into this busker guy, and he was friggin' superb. Nino Ez, you should look him up. He was absolutely brilliant, and he's coming up to the Northwest here. He's playing a gig in the Northwest in November. But such a talent. What? He was brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal.
What do you mean he's come to the Northwest?
He's playing a gig in
from Spain?
No, Portugal.
He's coming from Portugal to play a gig.
Yes. and he's
Here.
going to Holland, and he's playing a couple of gigs in Holland, and he's a couple of gigs down south, and blah blah blah. This Nino is, look, check him out, get him on the thing there, Pistol, and Albufeira.
Is he a professional?
Well, he's bloody good, I can tell you. Nino is.
Hang on, the video you sent, he was just in the street singing Street Carol.
Yeah,
And you'd been, aye, and to be fair, at that point, you'd been lying in the sun all day drinking.
I was.
Madonna head mics. You sure that's not Andrew Tate?
Look. Yeah, he's got a good crowd there, to be fair.
It's rammed.
Imagine trying to get the Peugeot parked there to gather up the gear.
Was that the best part of the holiday?
That was that guy. Just that guy was in the street in that street in the old town there, and those people just sort of flocked around him. And he does a Tuesday and a Thursday, and it's just rammed.
The other nights, what I'm saying is that just generally a busy place where people gather at night. I mean, the other nights when he's not on, would it be equally as busy for other people?
Well, it certainly wouldn't be crammed like that. It's I suppose it is the drinking area and the party area of the old town. Not having been there before, I went a couple of times down there, and it was just, as you can see, absolutely stuffed.
Is anyone else very pixelated, or am I just seeing myself pixelated?
Yeah, you're very
Your head looks.
She must be flat out in Peppa Pig.
At one point.
Well, Pistol, you need to take an authoritarian role and go straight in immediately and turn Peppa Pig off and put the two of them to bed.
I think that's the problem.
And then come out and do your thing.
What do you like to do in your holiday? Is that what you like to do? You like to go into the old town and have a few, or do you like to just sit by the pool?
I went into the old town, but I did the boat tour. I sent you a few pictures of the boat tour, didn't I? Of the cliffs and the scenery and all that sort of stuff. Taking all that in, I love all that. Really good. Then we went dolphin searching, trying to find dolphins. I was very nearly going to go up on a paraglider or parasail or whatever you call that thing.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen that.
Yes,
I would have loved to have seen that.
That would have been the death of you.
Yeah, I was very, very close to doing that, but I got turned down.
So is that the one where you're attached to the boat?
Aye, he turned me down.
He turned you down?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Too heavy.
Didn't say that, did he?
He did.
Fucking hell!
He says that life vest will not fit you.
Oh my god. How'd you
So
feel
the
about
life
that?
vest, I tried the life vest on, and me being a man of particular body and soul, the life vest,
Soul got to do it.
the life vest did click in, but it was a tad under pressure. So yeah,
how much water? How much like of a run up does the boat need to get you up in the air?
yeah. So I got turned down. I did try it. It was €45, but I took myself off then and got a jug of sangria.
What was the beer? Was it Sagres?
Sagres, yeah, very good. And San Miguel was another big one.
Aye.
Huge Spanish influence down there, obviously, you know, and the language is very similar to Spanish, and then I can speak Spanish, so I was able to coerce myself.
How much can you speak? Are you fluent or?
Oh no, I wouldn't be fluent, but I can speak Spanish. I can hold a conversation, and I can't speak Catalan now, but or the Basque area of Spain. It's a completely different dialect. But from my experience down in the south, you know, I can get by and I can do stuff and order what I need and talk to people, order a taxi, tell them where I want to go, that sort of stuff. But the Portuguese is very, very similar. Like in Spanish for the bill, it's la cuenta, por favor. Right? So that's the bill, please. Whereas in...
Cuenta, por favor?
La cuenta, por favor.
La cuenta, por favor?
Yeah, so that's Spanish for the bill, please. So in Portuguese, it's very similar to that.
Do you not fear if you start speaking Spanish, they think that you know how to speak Spanish, and then you end up in the conversation that you don't know what they're saying?
No, do you know what I think they think? I think they respect you more for it because you're trying to do their lingo. Now, the French are friggin' mad. I was out on the motorbike in France there in April, and they just will not, you know, and I've no French at all. But one of the guys who was with me had a wee bit of French, and he was able to, wee tiny bit of French. And they sort of respected him more than they respected me because I had no idea what they were talking about. And those people were speaking English. I heard them speaking English, but they wouldn't coerce with me in English because they just don't do it for badness.
Yeah, I got a really grumpy waiter in Paris when I ordered this thing and I didn't know what it was. I knew it involved eggs, but I obviously didn't really look at the menu. And he came out, and what only can be described as he brought me chips with a fried egg on top, and I thought I was getting like some kind of succulent French dish. And then because I didn't say, I said thank you, and because I didn't try to say thank you in French, he got really kind of arsey about it. Like, he just kind of shook his head. I was like...
It makes you think about when you were back in school, why did you not sit and study the bloody languages and learn a bloody language? But it's the strangest thing, that couple of years I spent in Spain, and because you were working with, obviously, Spanish people through an interpreter, you would start to pick it up, and you do start to pick it up. And that's how you learn it. But to sit, I think, in a classroom trying to read a Spanish book or you can't do it.
Would you ever go on that? Is it Place in the Sun or that where you sell up here and you go out and you look at some of the places that you can get for the amount of money that say you would sell your house for here?
All right, but that was back then, Pistol. That's not now. Where my hotel was, there was a villa being built across the street. Mm-hmm. Right, and this is the other thing that gets me as well. These guys would arrive down about maybe 7 o'clock in the morning. What they were doing was they were tiling the sun terrace. Okay, so all these boys arrived and they're tiling the sun terrace up the stairs. And the wee waitress who obviously I've got to know, and I said to her, what sort of money would you pay for that across the street?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, 350,000 euros maybe. It was a very nice house. 2 million.
Wow.
Oh my God, where were you staying?
Across the road from it.
Wow.
Built on a bit of waste ground. 2 million. Your woman says, 2 million. 2 million? But I remember sitting watching all that Place in the Sun and all that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, I would love to do that. And I did do it. I did do it, as you well know. But I'm going to tell you, unless you have something to do, and here's a bit of advice for anybody that watches this, thinks I'm going to sell up and go and live in Spain. Great, fill your boots, but make sure you have something to do, because you can't sit about the pool all day, every day. You just can't do it mentally.
Plus, I like a blast of heat, but if it was hot all the time...
Do you know what, Bamford? Good money to be made for DJs.
Out there?
Oh, aye. Every bar has a DJ. There's DJ. They're all over the place. But the only issue is you're there to maybe 5 a.m. So a younger man like yourself, Bamford or Pistol, would thrive out there. But for me now, it's
too hot. I'm too fair.
I used to gig in a bar when I was out there, in it was called Lineker's Bar, and it was owned by Gary Lineker's brother.
No way, Wayne.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're only bringing this up now.
Yeah, I DJ'd in there down at Port au Banús.
He's like a big, public figure of scrutiny, isn't he?
Yeah, I went down there and DJ'd down there many years ago in Lineker's Bar, which was the very top of Port au Banús, and you were there to maybe 4 or 5 in the morning. The money was good, and the banter was good, and there was loads of everything you'd want.
You know what I'd love to do? I maybe can't do it now. I would love, maybe if I wasn't a DJ, maybe if I was like a hypnotist or I was a magician or something, I would love to be able to do something like that, right? And go on like the cruise ships and do a year on a cruise ship doing. Cause I think if you're a hypnotist or a magician, your life's easier than like say a DJ or a musician, because you just go and do your thing and that's what you do. Well, I think that's what you do. You know,
there was a hypnotist on before me at a birthday party fairly recently, and he arrived after a good couple of hours of drinking, and for something like that to work, you need people's attention and you essentially need silence. And there were quite a few kids running around and bursting balloons and conversations, and he kept having to go, excuse me, bit of attention, bit of shush, please, shh. And in the end, he only got about 5 volunteers, and out of that, he was only able to briefly hypnotize 2 and put 1 into a deep trance. And then he even kept saying, this isn't really working because it almost seems like I'm like embarrassing this girl because she's the only one Any more volunteers? Any more? And nobody went up.
Do you not think it blows your mind though when you're there in person and you see someone getting hypnotized?
But do you believe in that?
I wish I could do it. I wish I could have that kind of power over people.
I only believe in it because I've seen it several times and I know a guy who does do it. So I think I do believe in it. Yeah, I don't think people are, but people who are planted. If you go to a show or something like that.
I believe people are planted, Pistol, because I did the same thing. Gigged one night, and this guy, and he'd whispered in your woman's ear. Now, when I tell you to do this, you do this, and you do that, and all this.
But why would you? If you're say at a wedding and you're a guest, why would you do that? Just to
it makes it
please
look
the
good. But I don't believe in it. I don't think it's
no.
When I prick my fingers, you'll be a dandelion.
Would you ever listen to any? There's stuff available online that will like relax you or calm stress or maybe give you a better night's sleep. And I would occasionally, but before it starts, it's like, find a comfortable place, lie down, no distractions, take the phone off the hook. So having experienced that, then a guy walks into a room with kids running around and drunk people, it's not going to work.
But I know people who've been hypnotized to stop smoking.
Oh, I'm sure. But apparently, it only really works if you're quite highly intelligent.
Oh,
to where fuck?
That rules us out.
But there's ways to manipulate. Have you ever read The Game?
No. Wouldn't be
you know what I'm talking about? There's a book over here. There it is. The Game, right? And it's all about it's the secret society of pickup artists. It's how you manipulate people, and it's all about without. Just something that stands out to me was, say you saw a woman that you quite liked in a bar. If you made a beeline for her as a stranger and just launched into conversation, you're probably not going to get anywhere, and her guards up, etc., etc. But if you wait for her to go somewhere like the bar, you go up beside her with the intention of ordering a drink, and then you just at some point subtly, have you got the time or who you here with? You're more likely to have more. There's those wee subtle ways about doing things, or if you see a girl you like and she's with a group of friends, if you give more attention to one that you don't particularly like, she can't help then start to get jealous and develop a slight interest in you. No, I do believe that there is tricks of the mind. I think if you're a hypnotist or a magician performing in a theater, you can smuggle in a plant, but if you walk into a wedding, people are going to say, who's this guy? That's, you know what I mean? What about the other side? What about the people who say they can speak to the dead and bring people back? And there's a woman who keeps coming up on my timeline from here, and there's she passes the mic around the room and people are saying that she's speaking about their granny or granda and just getting every detail right. There's a great documentary on YouTube about Darren Brown basically spending time with a load of UK people who claim to be able to do that. And he's like, it's not possible. Nobody has that ability. So he travels around with these people who claim to be able to do it. And he just keeps calling them out. And he basically, his voiceover is letting you know why that person's saying that to that person, because there's certain tells you would give. People seem to blink or respond, or they have a slight facial expression that would lead you in one way.
I got involved one night in a bit of a party, and they started the Ouija board. Oh, and I could tell you, scared the shit right out of me. Now I don't know whether anybody was pushing the glass or not, but I certainly wasn't pushing it. But it was bloody scary. It scared the shit right out of me. I just wouldn't like to get involved just in case. And this thing started to spell out a name and all on the board, and I go, bloody hell. You keep asking her, are you pushing it? No. Are you pushing it? No. Friggin' hell. I never did it again. But I don't believe in psychics and all that nonsense, and where you go and they'll tell you, I think you're going to be a big star. I went to one of those in, was it Port Stuart, or one of those kind of seaside shows they have, and I went into this something like that, we dirty caravan I went into, and then she was saying all these things. You're going to come into money and don't lend it to this person, and then all this kind of generic stuff about relationships. You're having a hard time with this person. You need to cleanse your life of the bad and all this. It was all very generic. Wasn't very specific. I used to work with a girl in Banford, knows her, but I'll not name her. And she went a couple of times to a psychic or whatever they're meant to be called, and spent big money, 25, 30 odd pound maybe a go. But she swore that there's stuff that your woman told her that she could not have known.
Yeah, but she also, with respect, and listen, each to their own, and if she got something out of it or it made her feel
You know who
good,
I'm
fair
talking
enough.
about.
I do know who you're talking about. But I actually went a few times with her, and I think I went 3 times, and every single time the person refused to do me. They said they couldn't read me. They said, you have a very cynical, negative energy, and it's just not going to work.
Negative.
I was no, I'm up for it. I want to do it. But maybe there's something to it. Maybe people like that can read somebody who's more likely to be a little more. I want to use a nicer word than gullible.
Well, there was a boy, wasn't there a boy back in the day, and he was on a lot of the TV shows and a lot of the chat shows, and he was able to talk to the deceased and talk to this and talk to that. But he started off, when he'd get the mic, he'd go out onto the stage. I think he's actually passed away. He'd go out onto the stage, and I'm hearing, now taking the audience, right, maybe 150, 200 people, and he'd say, I'm hearing, the word, John comes to mind. Anybody called John? And about 50 hands go up. I'm John.
What about the guy, Derek Acora?
That's who I'm talking about.
Is that what you're talking about? Mary Loves Dick?
I know the name Robert walks round, and I know Mary does, but there's this peace and calm, spiritual activity there with... right? Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick.
It's just, I don't know. But then it's things like that, you don't know whether to believe it or not.
Did you ever have anything charmed?
What do you mean?
Like a snake?
Snake. I used to be years ago. I used to have a very bad problem, right, with warts.
Oh,
right.
Okay, my hands and fingers were all covered in warts, and no matter what you did, you couldn't get rid of them.
right.
And my mum and my dad
Sounds like some kind of cartoon book.
right. My mum and dad took me up to this so-called wart charmer.
Right.
We're in the back arse of nowhere, and you put your hand out, and she rubs your hand and covers it. What she did was she cut a potato into 4 squares. I remember this so well. And she rubbed these squares of the potato onto each wart. And she read out some hookery-pokery charm crap. And she says, you take that back and put that in the garden and bury it. And as the potato rots, your warts will rot. 6
Right.
weeks, all my warts were gone. Never had one since.
Oh, shut up.
I swear.
Is that not just the lifespan of a wart?
Well, look it up. I don't know. I never had a wart since.
Much did she charge for that?
And I mean, I was covered in them. I had like maybe 7 on one finger and 4 or 5 on another finger, and they were everywhere. Big, heavy warts. And what used to happen when I was at school, I used to bite them because they were hard skin. I used to bite them, and then they would start to bleed. And apparently, if a wart, it's like a verruca. If a wart starts to bleed and gets onto another part of your skin, another wart will grow. Because the blood is so, I don't know. But they took me to this doll, and it was she read out this pokery stuff, rubbed my hands with the 4 bits of potato, and said, you bury that in the ground, and once the potato rots, your warts will rot and they'll fall off.
I remember as a kid having friends who had them and hearing stories about them going, would you have gone to get them frozen?
Well, now you do. You get stuff and you put it like a verruca, it freezes them. It's like the stuff that you would get for like a skin tag, you'd freeze them.
Ah, right, okay. No, but I've never heard that method.
Yeah, back in those days, you would have went to a wart charmer, or a charmer who there was other people who went to charmers for maybe like like some sort of a growth on their face or something like that.
Strange that you would discover that you have that ability, isn't it?
Well, it's not going back to the old housewives' tales and the old granny tales, and that's how they did things way back then.
And did they all disappear at the same time? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. And what did you think? Were you perplexed by this? Did you think, God, this is witchcraft?
I thought it was great. It was my mum and dad took me. I'm going back here. I think maybe they give her a £5 or something. I don't. But It was a big potato cut into 4 bits, and she rubbed the one piece of potato onto one bit, and then took another piece of potato, rubbed the other hand, the other piece of potato on the inside, the other piece of potato on the inside, wrapped it all up in this old raggy cloth, set a load of hokey-pokey over it, take that and bury it in the garden, and you'll never have another wart again. And I never did.
There is no research to show that cutting potatoes is an effective home remedy for warts. You can try this method by cutting a small potato in half, rub the cut side on the wart until it's covered in potato juice, as some people say that potato juice can dehydrate a wart.
Well, mine were dehydrated. Well off. Never had another one since, and I'm only telling you that from a life story, a life true story.
How do people get warts and verrucas at the swimming pools?
It's a virus. So if someone has a verruca, which is a wart, and you walk around in the swimming pool, you walk on top of where they have walked, you can pick up that virus.
Apparently they're very contagious. They're very, if you touch anything.
But, what was happening was, I still have some scars actually on my hands where the warts were. But I was biting them. And because the skin was so hard, you'd bite, and the next thing would start to bleed. And then maybe you'd rub it like with your thumb, and then you got the blood in your thumb, and then you got another bloody wart there too, and it was non-stop. So I had so many that something had to be done, and but from that time I never had another one.
Something had to be done, so we'll take him down to the wart woman who cuts potatoes on them.
Well, of course, my dad heard it from somebody at work who heard from somebody else who heard from somebody else. And I'm telling you now, I remember the wee cottage, and you went in and she had all this hookery-pokey. And
what year was this?
I'm talking about Jesus
the
Christ.
1700s?
I might have been maybe 9 or 10, maybe not even that.
But that would be something now that they tell you not to. You know, those like home remedies and all. That would be something now that they tell you not to do, or that kind of thing.
All she did was rub a potato on them, pistol, and read out some hokey-pokey. I think if you rubbed a potato on your nose, there'd be nothing happen to you.
Can you? It would be so amazing if you could remember like some of the words that she said. What do you mean by hokey-pokey?
It was all hookery-pokey. She read out this.
You've said hookery-pokey. What do you mean?
Like, it was she had her eyes and all closed, and I remember a towel over her head, and all this wee candle, and touching my hands, and rubbing the potato, and then talking to the potato and all. It was just...
Alakazam, the warts be gone.
Maybe it's all psychological. Maybe you go back as psychological and you think, hold on a second, and if you don't believe in it, it doesn't happen. Because I think she did say you must believe in it. I think that was her parting word to me. It's amazing I can actually remember that. I think she said, you must believe. Bury the potato as it rots. Your warts will rot. Now, if you take a potato out today and bury it, it'll grow.
What happened to your potato then?
Well, it obviously rotted. I didn't
and
go
at the exact same time that potato rotting, your warts disappeared.
She said, as the potato starts to rot, your warts will rot and fall off, and within a couple of days they were starting to go black.
And how did they actually fall off your hands?
Well, they were starting to go black, pistol, and either retreat or receding or whatever the case. But they started to go black, and then like if you go for it goes black and falls off.
My mum's a great one for if you tell her like you're suffering from anything, she can go into her like larder area pantry and pull out something, and she'll say, "Oh, some wee woman in a hut in the arse end of nowhere makes this, and you can't get it anywhere else, and she only makes 12 bottles a year, and I am so lucky to have gotten one, and I'm gonna let you have some of it. I'm telling you, it'll be cleared up, it'll be gone in 2 days. What's in it? Oh, nobody knows. It's a secret recipe, and you'll take it, and it'll be gone in 2 days."
And did that clear up the STD?
I've never had an STD.
Have you ever had any
have sex?
And apparently, she also was, for people with acne and that sort of stuff. But I don't know. Look, see, back in those days, if even back in your grandmother's day and your great grandmother's day, they all relied on stuff like that. They weren't running around with bloody penicillin and take 2 aspirin when you need it.
Did it change how you perceive now a potato?
No. But it certainly gave me, in those days, a lot more confidence because you're trying to cover your hands up constantly because of the state of them. Like they were just, and if you went near any young filly,
Women.
oh my God, look at the state of your hands. You're not touching me there. Look at the state of your hands and all. Yeah. Back when you used to go around the back of the bike sheds and stuff. Did you ever go around the back of the bike sheds?
I didn't have a bike.
We didn't have bike
I
sheds.
stayed away from the smoking hut.
No, you wouldn't go around the back of the bike sheds, in those days, and you would meet up in the bogs.
Do you remember the first person that you ever had a kiss
hump
with?
Yes, and I've since ran into her and brought it up in casual, jokey conversation, and she denies that it happened.
How did you bring it up?
I was just like, do you remember, or do you know you were my first, or whatever? And she laughs and she goes, no, it wasn't. It didn't happen.
It was obviously
It did. It fucking did happen. It did happen.
No, well, obviously it wasn't that good for her.
What age were you?
Like primary school? I don't know. I don't know. What
Actually,
age do kids go to primary school?
4 to
Probably
10.
like
Yeah, anything from
P4
Banford, you weren't round having sex at 5 years
Not
old.
sex.
No.
Hold on. Whoa. There's this is not full penetration. This is just a smooch.
Or was this just you touch mine, I touch yours?
Yes.
Or show me yours, show you mine? There's a great bloody song about that. You boys should be listening to it. Paradise by the Dashboard Light, Meatloaf. That'll take you through the whole stages.
Do you know what? I love that song, right? But I hate when then it speeds up and it moves into like baseball commentary.
Yeah.
It's like two songs joined together.
And then
we're gonna go all the way tonight. We're gonna go all the way tonight.
I know. I know. It's a great song, absolutely great song. And then the other one too about where he's talking about, would you give your lips to the
on a hot summer night?
Oh, those were belters. I bet you say that to all the boys. It's belter. Absolute belter.
That's my clip.
Oh.
Completely out of context.
Absolute belter.
Although I will say, Pistol, and you're a fan of a musical. There's now, because Meatloaf's music was always very theatrical. There's now Bad Out of Hell the musical, which I've seen, and I think it's very to bring that music to the stage. It's very well done.
Right?
Did they do Not a Dry Eye in the House in that one?
They actually did, yeah.
Wow, brilliant single too. Not a dry eye in the. It's a great song.
The story's a bit
anymore.
The story's a bit rubbish, but it's the songs are very well delivered.
Well, most of those things are, but you only go for the music. It's like the Michael Jackson thing we went to. We went for the music. The storyline was shit.
Yeah,
but the songs were good. It's just a classic. You never get it. I remember buying that on cassette when I was like 17, 18 and just constantly playing it in the car over and over and over and over until the bloody cassette wound out and filled up the stereo and bollocks it.
It still stands up, but I feel like I've probably said this before. Worst gig I ever went to was the real Meatloaf. Worst gig ever.
Oh,
the real one?
Yeah, it was like, he should have stopped. The voice wasn't there anymore. He couldn't hit the notes, and I think maybe out of frustration, he just started picking fights with people in the crowd. It was just crap.
Well, talking about crap, I was at Liam Gallagher on Friday night, and jeepers.
Did he arrive via helicopter?
A bloke that came out, couldn't care less, just did it. Away he went. Pushed and shoved, throwing beer cups and.
It was the same in Dublin. Like people were like letting off flares and all during the show, and
unreal.
He was just shouting at them, and
the cap on and the coat, and you could hardly see him, and but that's his persona. That's the way he gets on. But
how he still has a voice, the way he sings as well.
He couldn't give one iota about the crowd. Absolutely no communication, no banter. Couple of foul obscenities, and that was about the head of it.
It's amazing though how, those first two Oasis albums were very groundbreaking and it's great music, but it was a long time ago to still be playing for like 40,000 people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's not been a significant band since, has there? Well, Coldplay,
Script.
1975, but the 1975 couldn't do big outdoor shows like that, I don't think.
script.
There was a whole craze of every time I went on TikTok, there was just a craze of 1975 shows. I don't know where that came from. Just a sudden boom.
That last tour they did was unbelievable. He came out pretending to be drunk and off his head and did a whole Liam Gallagher, like muttered bollocks into the mic in between songs. And then halfway through the show, there was a TV on stage and he climbed into the TV and then it said like end of first half or whatever. And then he came out in the second half wearing like a suit and he was like, good evening, it's nice to be here, it's a pleasure to play for you. It was all an act.
But why?
It was a bit of performance art. But some great songs actually. And for, I would say, people in their mid-20s, they are a significant band.
Well, I tell you, I had to laugh there today, and it took me back to the days when I would have been Down Royal and DJing in the Down Royal. It was called Silk's nightclub then. It was always called Stallions nightclub, and it was rammed, and it was one of the big places of the day. And many years ago, they had a Down Royal reunion, right? Somebody came up with this idea, we'll have a Down Royal reunion. I thought, gosh, yeah. I wonder will they contact me being one of the resident DJs there and blah, blah, blah. No, of course they didn't. But why I'm bringing that up, I saw one today. There was another place I used to DJ back in the day called Chester's. Do you remember Ed Pistol?
Nope.
Chester's in Moira. And we used to do out there. And I saw a thing popping up today on Facebook. Chester's reunion. Get your tickets now. Big night, the big night. Remember Chester's back in the day. It's in some farmer's hall out at the maze out here.
Yeah, it only works like the Bamboo Beach Club or something. If you actually reopen a venue and actually do it again, it only works. But
somewhere like that.
And you would have done the M Club.
Yeah, there's another one. Let's have an M Club reunion. Yeah, great. And that was the M Club in those days was the big venue. It was the place to be. And you dart across the Bishops and get a free supper first, and then over into the M Club. M Club was the big place.
But it's not mad that they're always away.
Yeah, but that's all gone, as has been proven with these plus 30 gigs. All that stuff is gone. People don't go to that now. They go to a bar. They go to like a bar with music. They don't go to a disco. It just doesn't.
Yes,
happen.
but the thing is, the likes of the M Club, right, would have essentially been what is the 30 plus club.
Jingle then totally die. Say like the next generation, all of that will just die out.
Like clubbing. The people who are involved in doing it now, who were all involved, it's flashing up there like the Night of Legends. Like, you know, what DJ in the 1980s, was a legend. You know,
but
not Annie. You know, but the branded as a Night of Legends. Like,
you speak to a lot of people who've been doing it for a long time, and they're all sort of a bit jaded and fed up with it all. Do you have fond memories, or do you look back at it like that was then, this is now?
Look. Let's go back to those days, right? And in those days, you know, for a gig you were lifting maybe £100. Back then, I knocked about with fellas who were at like the YTP, the Youth Training Program Centre, and they were learning to be a joiner or learning to be a bricklayer for like £22 a week. And I was lifting £100 a night, you know. And a lot of people would say, and again, with exams and stuff that have all gone there, and you know, A levels and GCSEs and stuff, and all these people trying to make their career moves and go to university and go. I never went to university or anywhere. I came out of school with nothing, but I had money in my pocket, and it was the money in your pocket that was getting you where you needed to be. It wasn't what you had in your head. It's no good going down to the likes of let's say the merchant and tell them, I've got 2 degrees in architecture and a degree in bloody biochemistry. You still have to pay for your dinner. So that's what you have in your pocket. But, you know, I'm only saying, like, you know, it's not where you go to study and you end up with 15 or 20 degrees. You still maybe can't get a bloody job, and you still can't pay for your dinner. No, and you still can't pay for your dinner, Banford. I'm doing a thing at the minute where I'm with people and I'm training them to do a certain thing at the minute, and a couple of them have 4 or 5 degrees, can't get jobs.
Like, if you go on to any of those job websites or recruitment websites, it seems like unless you've got a degree, it seems like the bare minimum to do it. So there is obviously a natural thing for young people to go, God, I need to do that.
Look, there's part-time jobs going for the run up to Christmas in a large shopping centre right beside me here. I just saw it tonight on Facebook. 22 hours a week and 18 hours a week and 16 hours a week and all this sort of stuff. You want to see the criteria to apply.
Aye.
What you have to go and pack shelves.
16 and 18 and 21. It's far too young to figure out what, like GCSEs and A levels, and you don't know what you want to do, really. You don't.
Peter, what did you... so after uni, did you go straight into the wedding band, or what was the thing after uni?
Basically, straight into the wedding band, actually, from June to, straight in, just okay. By pure luck. Like most of the people that were in my class
are a degree.
No, but that's what I mean. Most of the people in my class went to, like, as you say, like supermarkets or either supermarkets or teacher training. That was the two paths. It's who you know. It was just about making contacts, really. It wasn't about like a bit of paper, you know.
I can't speak universally, but I do think there comes a point when at school, college, whatever, the guidance for young people is abysmal. You know, it needs to be an individual case-by-case thing. Here's what we recommend. Here's the path we think you should go down.
What have you got academically?
Academically, I just did GCSEs, then I went to college, did media and performing arts, learned how to be a cook breakfast, and then I worked at multiple call centres. And then when I started doing the mobile DJing, thought, well, the progression or the way to charge more money or the way to get bigger and better gigs is to try and get on the radio.
So it boils down then basically to what you have in your pocket.
But you have to have that, you know, you do speak to a lot of young people these days, and I don't want to say they don't want to work, but they just think somebody's going to knock at the door and hand it all to them.
Anyway, for this episode, thanks for listening and watching, and please hit like and subscribe.
See you again.